The Black Phone understands that horror comes from isolation, being trapped, alone, with no one to hear you scream. Not every horror story starts with a phone call, but many of them end with one. The Black Phone, released in 2022, is a film that begins with a missing child and ends with voices from beyond. While it might look like a standard kidnapping thriller at first glance, there's something else lurking beneath the surface, something older than fear and stronger than death itself. The film opens in 1978 Denver, where 13-year-old Finney Shaw lives with his sister Gwen and their father. Their mother is dead. Their father drinks. Violence fills the home, but it's nothing compared to what waits outside. Children have been disappearing. The media calls the kidnapper the grabber, but to the neighborhood kids, he's terror in a van with black balloons. The film's setting isn't accidental. 1978 was before cell phones, before Amber Alerts, before the internet. Children disappeared and stayed disappeared. The grabber operates in a world of limited communication, where isolation is easy and help is hard to find. Finney is quiet, bookish, the kind of kid who gets picked on. His sister Gwen is different. She has dreams, visions that show her things that haven't yet happened. Their father calls it the devil's work, but Gwen's dreams have been showing her missing children. The contrast establishes the film's central tension. Finney withdraws from problems, while Gwen confronts uncomfortable truths, even when they bring punishment. At school, Finney faces bullies. At home, he faces his father's rage. The only constant in his life is his friendship with Robin, a tough kid who teaches him how to fight. Robin believes in standing up, fighting back, not letting anyone make you feel small. When Robin disappears, taken by the grabber like the others, Finney's world shifts. The boogeyman becomes real. Then one day, walking from school, Finney sees black balloons. He sees the van. He tries to help a man who claims to be a magician and wakes up in a basement. The grabber's methodology reveals his understanding of childhood psychology. He poses as someone who needs help, exploiting the kindness children are taught to show adults. The magic trick is a metaphor for how evil disguises itself as wonder. The basement is soundproof. The door is locked. The windows are barred and painted black. Finney is trapped with a man who wears masks, sometimes crying, sometimes smiling, sometimes angry. The grabber, whose real name is Albert Shaw, is a predator who has perfected his method. He's taken 5 boys before Finney. None of them survived. His masks represent the different faces of abuse. The crying mask shows false remorse. The smiling mask shows fake kindness. The angry mask shows true violence. But underneath all the masks is the same person. Someone who has chosen pain. In the basement there's a phone. A black phone, disconnected, sitting on the wall. The grabber tells Finney the phone doesn't work. But that night, the phone rings. When Finney answers, he hears voices. The voices of the missing children. The ones who came before him. The phone becomes a symbol of connection across impossible barriers. This supernatural device represents the one connection that cannot be severed, the bond between souls. Each ghost has a story. Bruce, the first victim, tells Finney about the combination lock on the door. Jacob, who tried to dig his way out, shows him the tunnel in the floor hidden under loose tile. Billy, who almost escaped, explains how to break the window without making noise. Griffin and Vance, the other victims, each offer pieces of the puzzle. The missing boys represent different responses to trauma and captivity. Bruce shows patience. Jacob demonstrates determination. Billy reveals creativity. Each boy tried something different, and each failed, but their collective knowledge becomes Finney's advantage. The phone connects them not just to Finney, but to each other, creating a brotherhood of the dead. In life, these boys never met. They died alone, months apart. But in death, they found each other. Having visions. She sees Finney in the basement. She sees the house where he's trapped. but her dreams come in fragments. The police don't believe her. Her father threatens to chase the devil out of her, but Gwen knows her dreams are real. Gwen's psychic abilities represent the bond between siblings, the way love can transcend physical barriers. Her visions come with a cost, but she never stops trying to find her brother. Detective Wright takes Gwen seriously when her visions lead to the discovery of the Grabber's previous dump sites. The Grabber keeps the boys for a few days, then gets rid of them when he gets bored. In the basement, Finney learns the Grabber's routine. He plays a game where he leaves the door unlocked, pretending Finney might escape, but it's a test, a trap. If Finney tries to leave, he's beaten. If he doesn't try to leave, he's beaten for being weak. There's no winning, only surviving. This psychological torture reflects how abusers create no-win situations, where every choice leads to punishment. The ghosts tell Finney about the Grabber's brother, Max, who lives upstairs, but doesn't know the boys are in the basement. Max is mentally disabled, childlike, unaware that his brother is a killer. The house has 2 levels. Upstairs is innocence. Downstairs is death. The contrast shows that evil is a choice. Max and Albert Shaw share genetics and trauma, but only one became a killer. As the Grabber becomes bored with Finney, the phone calls become more urgent. The missing boys don't just want to help Finney escape, they want revenge. They've been trapped in the basement where they died, unable to move on while their killer remains free. Finney becomes their chance for justice. Robin's ghost appears, the friend Finney lost, the boy who taught him how to fight. Robin's message is simple. The escape isn't about running, it's about fighting back. All the previous boys tried to run, to hide, to sneak away, but the Grabber always caught them. This time, they fight. Finney sets a trap, using everything the ghost taught him: Bruce's lock combination, Jacob's tunnel, Billy's window technique, Griffin's hiding spots, Vance's strength. He prepares an ambush. The basement becomes a weapon. The missing boys become his army. The Grabber designed the basement to make people helpless, but Finney transforms it into a trap for his captor. When the Grabber comes for Finney, expecting another victim, he finds something else. Finney has filled a sock with dirt and broken pieces, creating a weapon. He's dug a pit and covered it with carpet. The hunter becomes the hunted. The fight in the basement is brutal. The Grabber is larger, stronger, more experienced. But Finney has advantages the Grabber doesn't expect. He has the voices of the dead guiding him. He has Robin's fighting lessons. The climax reverses every expectation. The Grabber expects Finney to cower, to beg, to die quietly like the others. Instead, he finds a boy who fights with the accumulated knowledge of 5 missing children. The basement, designed to muffle screams, becomes a place where the dead finally get their voices heard. Finney doesn't just escape, he destroys the Grabber. The man who terrorized an entire neighborhood dies in his own basement. The soundproof room that hid his crimes becomes his tomb. When the police arrive, led by Gwen's visions, they find Finney alive and the Grabber dead. The nightmare is over. The missing children have been found, though too late for 5 of them. The ending offers closure for the living and the dead. The Grabber is gone. Finney is safe. Gwen's abilities are vindicated. But the cost was high. 5 boys died for the victory. Finney's survival changes him. He was quiet, bookish, afraid of conflict. The experience doesn't make him violent, but it makes him strong. The Black Phone understands that horror comes from isolation, being trapped alone with no one to hear you scream. But it also understands that connection can survive anything, even death. The boys in the basement weren't truly alone, because they found each other. The film asks whether we truly lose the people we love, or whether they find ways to stay with us, to guide us, to help us when we need them most. The phone might be supernatural, but the love it represents feels absolutely real. So while it may look like a kidnapping story and sound like a supernatural thriller, The Black Phone is something else entirely. It's a story about finding your voice and discovering that sometimes the dead are speaking to you. It's about the connections that death cannot break and the strength we find when we stop running and start fighting back. Hey everybody, I'm Corey. This is Thrill De Novo. I hope you enjoyed that breakdown of the 2022 film, The Black Phone. Please like, share, subscribe if you haven't already. Those sort of things really help me out, and I'll see you next time.